Hello and welcome. Today I'd like to share with you my top 5 favorite fountain pens. Now this list changes from time to time, and I thought that I needed to update you because there have been some shocking and radical changes. Fountain pens that had been on this list since I started keeping it are gone, wiped clean by some new ones and some interesting choices. So I think you'll find this really interesting and engaging. Although this list is purely my favorites and my opinion, I did want to make it more interesting by forcing me to choose only one fountain pen from each manufacturer so that there wouldn't be 3 Montblanc pens, for instance. I think that makes it more interesting and allows me to mix it up a little. Plus it makes it harder for me, and that's kind of fun. Now, the last time we looked at my list, it was back in January of 2024, and it was the TWSBI Eco, the Lamy Vista, the Magna Carta Mag 600, the Montblanc Egyptomania, and the Waterman 5 in celluloid. Are any of these still on the list? Well, I can tell you, it's a lot different, but just stay tuned and you'll find out. These 5 picks I'll be sharing with you are my current favorites. What this means is that these are the ones that I am reaching for when I want to bring a pen to work, when I'm journaling, or when I'm writing a letter. There's nothing scientific behind this. These are just the pens that I love, the ones that are really close to me, the ones I keep reaching for. And that's what makes it so interesting and so shocking, because they do trade positions for time to time, and we'll get into that. So let's delay no longer and get into my first choice. My first choice for today is a heavy hitter. This is the Pelikan M800. Brendan Schmidt gave me this pen earlier this year, and I've been using it quite a bit in the background. I'm getting ready to film with it for something epic very soon. But this fountain pen has been a constant companion. It's just so perfect for the office. It just fits in perfectly with a business environment. But it is beautiful, it is lovely, it is beguiling, it is fantastic for journaling, it is fantastic for note-taking, and I traveled with it this year. This is the fountain pen that was in my Lockbee Quattro pen case when I was in Washington, D.C., so it was always in my back pocket, ready to write, ready to perform for me, and it did so admirably. This is the black and blue version. It's absolutely beautiful. It has a fantastic fine Pelikan nib on it, which really ranks it around a medium or a broad. There's so much ink coming out of this, but it's such a beautiful writing experience. It's so expressive. It's so beautiful. And I love the details on this. I just think Pelikan pens become very impressive as they get larger. They just become that much more beautiful. I do like the vintage proportions of their smaller ones, like the M200, but boy, when you get to the M800, it's just the way it works with space. It just gives it this incredible beauty with the striping of the barrel, with the Pelikan face on the clip, and all of those beautiful details that you would expect from Pelikan. So I was kind of surprised that this made my list. It was very much a pen that was in the background, and I've been thinking about it from a filming point of view, but not so much how I felt about it. But it's true that I often reach for it, and it has never let me down. I love the piston fill mechanism, so it gives me quite a bit of ink to write at the ready. And it's just gorgeous, beautiful, and inspiring. It is a solid pick for my top 5 favorite fountain pens. So at the end of this video, I'm going to put how my list has evolved over time. I think you'll find that interesting, and you'll be able to see which pens have dropped out and which ones have remained. The reason I'm bringing this up right now is that my next choice is a fountain pen that was on my list back in January of 2024. I need to be honest, this is a pen that I reach for all the time. it is one of my favorite pens for writing letters. This is the Magna Carta 600 with that amazing flex nib. Now, I got the chance to meet Hiran at the DC Pen Show. It was fantastic to hear all about him developing this pen. And here's a fact for you. The flex nibs that he made in one batch, and he still has some left. So that's really interesting. They are fantastic nibs. They are incredible writers. They are like vintage flex nibs. They're very similar to the old Waterman nibs. They just give you so much line variation. They give you so much possibility to your writing if you want very broad downstrokes for dramatic calligraphy style writing, or for signing your name, or even for a bit of emotional intensity at the end of a line. I just think they're fantastic for that. I love the balance and the feel of this pen. I also appreciate that you don't have to flex this pen. You can write as an extra fine, and it's very smooth, very nice, very precise. So it's a very well-made pen. It performs fantastic for me. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that some people have had some QC issues, but I only consider the pens that I own how they are as I have them. And I adore this pen. It works fantastically. The flex is very dramatic and interesting and just fun to write with. So it is definitely one of my favorite fountain pens. My next choice is a fountain pen that has been on my list before, but in an entirely different form. And that's what makes this so interesting. So today, my third choice is the Lamy AL Star, that incredible aluminum safari. This was given to me earlier this year by Joost Appelboom. And let me tell you something about Lamy. I did a lot of research for my Lamy Safari video, and in doing so, it made me really appreciate this pen from a design point of view, from a history point of view, from a heritage point of view. And it just really made me love it and feel a lot of affection. So I started using it more and more, and this became my workhorse pen, filling a spot that the TWSBI Eco used to have. So I've been bringing this one to the office. I've been writing a lot of letters with this. Now, I haven't swapped out the nib to their calligraphy nib yet, which I usually do because that is my favorite Lamy nib. But this has a medium nib. It's brilliant. I love writing with it. I love the lightness and the feel of this fountain pen. Something about it being an aluminum just makes it a little bit more polished, a little bit more finished, and certainly more elegant. Somewhat eschews its Lego associations in its regular Lamy Safari form. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I adore those pens. But this one just has that extra level of elegance and class. Plus, the way the materials play with the light is just extraordinary. So I adore carrying this pen. I appreciate the lightness. I love to use it with some of my journals out in the field. And I just love Lamy as a brand. And I appreciate the Safari for its design, for its history, for the fact that it's made in Germany, for the fact that it's obtainable by anyone. It's just a fantastic pen at a very accessible price, being below $40 in almost every iteration. So I just love Lamy Safaris and the AL Star in particular. This is my fourth choice. We're almost at the end. And my fifth choice is my favorite fountain pen right now. I like to go on the record and say which one is my absolute favorite. And let me tell you, it is a stunner and it is a shocker. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. But first, let's talk about the Montblanc Bohème. Yes, Bohème. Can you believe it? Now, this was rough because I adore the Egyptomania. I mean, it would probably be the one pen I would grab in a fire to save. I love it so much, but why isn't it on my favorites list? just because recently I haven't been reaching for it as much. I've been reaching for two other Montblanc pens much more. I just have to admit it to you honestly. One is my Montblanc 147 Traveler in Burgundy. I love this pen. I had trouble choosing between it and the Bohème, but truth is, I just love the Bohème. I'm just really enjoying its strange puzzle-like quality, how you have to assemble it before you write with it. Now, it makes it a little bit restrictive for what I use it for. I use it for more longer writing sessions, for writing letters, for journaling. It's not a quick notes pen. The clock-like mechanism of assembling it and seeing the nib come out and the beautiful jewel on the clip, it's just so interesting. Plus, I love that I got this very inexpensively and I restored it cosmetically myself, and it writes so smooth, so accurately, so expressively. I have Kaweco Ruby Red cartridges in it right now, and I adore that color with this pen. It's easy to carry around and it's a joy to use once you assemble it, and I just find it very intriguing, very interesting. I'm actually fighting the desire to add more of them to my collection. I saw a lot at the DC Pen Show, but I held myself back. I do have some self-restraint in regards to fountain pens, and I really don't want to fall down that rabbit hole, but you can tell I'm very much considering falling down that rabbit hole. But it is a really interesting pen, and I quite love it, and I feel confident, although a little sad, that it did bump out the Egyptomania, though I love it so. Still, right now, this is my fourth favorite fountain pen. So if that choice of Montblanc with the Bohème wasn't shocking enough, and I know I'm going to hear a lot of comments about the Egyptomania, I'm prepared for that, then allow me to reveal what is my definitive favorite fountain pen right now. And by the way, if you think you know, run to the comments now, put it in, but here it is. The Waterman Edson. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. I have fallen in love with this pen, and it really was love at first sight when I saw it at the DC Pen Show. I wanted to buy it. I thought it was too expensive. I walked away. I looked at the entire pen show and there wasn't a single pen there to rival it. I had to have this pen. It spoke to me visually. The aesthetics, the beautiful glowing sapphire barrel, that incredible brushed gold cap, the way that the gold and the sapphire spoke to each other, its rich royal look, its incredible balance, its bit of heft when it's capped. It just was so intriguing, so interesting to me. And when I uncapped it and I saw that it had an inlaid nib with that beautiful elongated decorative touch that guides your eye down to its rounded, incredible presence at the end, giving it this amazing Art Deco look, poise, power. I had to have it. I was completely overwhelmed, completely beguiled. I put myself in denial. I put it down. I came back. I bought it from Truffet, and I have no regrets. I adore this pen. I inked it with Waterman Serenity Blue. I've been writing with it every day, and I just feel if I were going to be completely honest and set aside all heritage, this pen, it just is perfect for me. The balance, its sort of albacore body, its sleekness, its just intensity. I just adore writing with it. I love seeing that nib as it forms its words. It reminds me of my Sheaffer Legacy, which I adore as well. It is a fantastic fountain pen, and it's just a joy to own it. It's so interesting, and as I was researching for my video and I went through the whole history of Waterman, and Waterman had a renaissance of fountain pens in the 1990s that I just feel like people don't seem to appreciate even what they're doing now. Waterman is such a solid brand, making such amazing fountain pens at incredible prices, and they're somewhat neglected. It's truly a luxury item that performs, it's fantastic, that's beautiful, that's made in Paris. What more could you ask for? Well, you could ask for the Edson, and the Edson is amazing, becoming even more rare, and boy am I glad I own it. It is an absolutely stunning fountain pen and a complete shock, even to me, that it's now my favorite fountain pen, at least until next time. And on that note, let's go back in time and look at my top 5 lists from the past. Let's go back to April of 2022 when I was a little bit more permissive with multiple brands. I had the Montblanc 149, still a pen I love, and the Montblanc Egyptomania, both on the list. I also had 2 TWSBIs. I had the TWSBI Eco, which I still adore, and the TWSBI VAC 700R in Iris, a stunner of a pen. And the Kaweco Brass Sport, an absolutely fantastic pen, but it's become a little bit more niche for me these days. I don't reach for it as much, and it's been somewhat superseded by the Kaweco Bronze Sport. So there you have it. Now let's go to our next list. In April of 2023, I had the fantastic Waterman 5 fountain pen. I still adore that pen, but truth be told, when I want a flex nib, I now reach for the Magna Carta Mag 600. It's just how it is, so I need to be honest. And I also had the Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age, an absolutely incredible pen that I love, I adore. I love the Italian associations and everything else, but I have to be honest, I really don't reach for it very often, and it usually sleeps in my collection for weeks at a time. I also had the Montblanc Egyptomania on that list, which I still adore. That could certainly pop back on one of my lists very, very soon. The TWSBI Eco also remained on my list then, and it's still a fantastic pen, but it's been superseded with the Lamy Safari. And last, there was a Conway Stewart Churchill Honey Noir lever fill fountain pen, an absolutely stunning fountain pen. I still love it, respect it for all its vintage associations, but I really don't reach for it very much anymore. I just am finding other pens a little bit more interesting these days. And then, of course, in January of 2024, we had the Lamy Vista, still an amazing pen. It still gives me a lot of feels when I think about our trip to New York City last summer, but it has been superseded with the AL Star. The Egyptomania was also on the list still then, still love it. It's definitely coming back at some point, but when? Stay tuned. The Waterman 5 was on the list. Now, definitely the Waterman Edson supersedes the 5. It just does. I just adore that pen. The TWSBI Eco remained on the list as well. I still love TWSBI. It's not going anywhere. It's still very close to my heart. You'll see it on the channel soon, but not a top 5 favorite. And the Magna Carta Mag 600 was there, and that one remained. It is a fantastic expressive pen, and I adore writing with it. So that's how these things evolved over time. What do you think? Are you as shocked as I am with how this list came out? Let me know in the comments, and if you think I'm crazy and way off base, I'd love to hear that too. So if you've reached this point in the video, please subscribe. And if you could also share this with somebody else who you think might enjoy my channel, I'd appreciate it. I'm always looking to grow. And if you want to support the channel even more, then please become a member. We even have a pen pal group for Cognoscenti and Illuminati members. Super fun. So I make new videos all the time, and I have a live show I do as well. So I can promise you we will see each other very, very soon, further up the road. So take care of yourself.